Hello, everybody, and welcome to
Sonic and Unfortunate History.
Andrew. You said we were doing Ash Can't Catch 'Em.
Nope, Sonic. Gotta love it.
How'd I get here?
You drove in my car.
I don't remember that.
Don't worry about it, it'll wear off.
Anyway, I'm Max.
I'm Andrew.
Together, we are the foundation for the eradication of Gen 5 Pokemon, and I really don't like Sonic.
And I do, so it equals out.
Except only one of us is right, and it's me. So, before we start the panel, we do have to give you a brief test. So we're going to show you an image. If you believe that image is a Sonic the Hedgehog character, I would like you to raise your hand. Do not raise a foot. Do not jump up and down like a maniac. Just raise a single hand. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
One of you is going to try to do something else. I just want to be very clear, I'm going to hate you. So, is Elon Musk a Sonic the Hedgehog character? I guess that's technically a hand, Griffin, thank you. Would you like to demonstrate?
I'm the ultimate life form.
That's the wrong one, it's actually Dr. Eggman. Now, the thing is, I don't really know when Elon Musk started modeling himself after Dr. Eggman versus when Dr. Eggman started modeling himself after Elon Musk. It's kind of like this forced feedback loop of evil. Eggman's like, I'm gonna shove animals into robots and make them fight. Elon Musk is like, I'm gonna put brain chips in them. And Eggman's like, how do I top that? What do I do?
Next up is the Grinch from The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, a Sonic the Hedgehog character.
You in the back are very, very confident.
Yeah.
Which Sonic character is it?
Yeah.
Which Sonic character is
Yeah.
it?
You're so
I
excited.
feel like I did not think this through. No, you have to answer.
Yeah, just throw a character at us.
There are no wrong answers here.
There's a lot of wrong answers.
There's an
He's right.
incredible amount of wrong answers.
I appreciate the gumption, but no.
They are both green.
It's Dr. Robotnik. It's the same actor. Like, it's canonical.
I mean, I know you were confused because we did Eggman already, but they are different people. They're not the same person. If they were, they would go by the same name. That's how it works. That's why Princess Toadstool and Princess Peach, different people. Yeah. Didn't you know that? I have a microphone, so if I say it, it's just true. That's how the truth works now. There's no fact checking anymore. Is this a Sonic the Hedgehog character? Okay, I'm gonna go with you.
Yeah, that's Boom Knuckles.
Okay, I'm gonna go with someone else. Yeah.
The cat?
You're right. It's Big the Cat. Of course, not to be confused with my OC, Do Not Steal, Bigger the Catter. But I must remind you, is bigger and catter. And also, I think he works for the IRS. There's deep lore with Bigger the Catter.
Does he still fish?
Huh?
Does he still fish?
He taxes your fish. Yeah, I know. It's after the bill, they tax salmon now. Is the Sailor Moon AMV for Crawling in My Skin a Sonic the Hedgehog character? Yes, the person in the shadow shirt behind the person dressed as Shadow.
It's Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yes. I'm so proud of you. Would you like a ribbon?
I love the ribbon.
Okay. Come and grab a ribbon. It has nothing to do with Sonic because we haven't made Sonic ribbons yet. Congratulations. Normally it takes more than one guess to get that one right. Next is Pacific Gas and Electric, a Sonic the Hedgehog. Red shirt. And to preface this is you landing on the planet if you get it wrong, so you're probably not going to make it back.
Chaos?
You're not going to make it back. Yes.
Is it Gun?
The entire organization of Gun.
They both
No,
seem
that's the
equally
US
evil.
military. Also evil. It's Blaze the Cat. I like a lot of duh. Next is that moment you realized you were sexually attracted to an anthropomorphic creature. a Sonic the Hedgehog character. Now, yeah, in the back.
That's Rouge the Bat.
Okay, so you're right. But there's a lot of lore here, specifically involving Bryce. So, Bryce, would you care to tell them what you said when I asked this question?
Did I say something like it depends who you ask? Or
It depends on your preferences.
depends on your preferences, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so for you, who is it?
For me?
Yes. And you said,
Who did I say?
you said,
It was a few years ago. Give him some.
no,
Yeah,
no.
Sorry.
You said, Griffin, do you know what he said?
I lost the lore.
He said Roosh the Bat. And then he showed up next year to the panel dressed as Helltaker with his partner dressed as Roosh the Bat. Griffin, I know you've heard this before.
Yeah, it's coming back to me.
You can sit further away from him, it's fine. We won't hold it against you. So, clearly none of you know what Sonic the Hedgehog is because nobody raised their hand every time. Except, oh no. Oh no.
Sorry.
What did I do wrong?
No, that was me.
Okay, what's happening here?
Just read through
Okay.
it. Yeah, I was just
Okay.
making sure it worked.
It closed my screen recorder, so now I have to start again. Okay, everybody, one moment while we survive.
Okay, so is the automatic shutting off of the screen recorder a Sonic character?
The answer is yes. I just don't know which one yet. Would you like to help us figure that out?
Also Dr. Eggman.
It's also Dr. Eggman.
No, I go with Sonic 06.
It is the princess from Sonic 06.
Just crashes your Xbox.
I just upload it later. I'm too lazy to reach out to people. It's hard.
No, no worries.
Thank you. Okay. That leads me to be concerned that nothing was working earlier.
They were laughing. I think they saw it.
Okay.
I mean, people raised their hands.
Cool. You are right, though. We definitely have to add blue screen of death in here. Just put Sonic 06. Anyway, so cool.
It's recording still, right?
Yeah. I started a new recording. I'm very excited about it. Knuckles is here. So
He's going to show us the way.
this is now Sonic the Hedgehog, an unfortunate history, and Knuckles. Thank you. So before we talk about Sonic, though, we should talk about Sega. And Sega is short for Service Games. They're called that because they sold gambling machines to U.S. sailors. Not very inventive. The problem is at some point the U.S. Navy went, maybe we should stop letting our sailors spend all of their money on loot boxes. That's a bad idea. But Sega was like, but we like making games for sailors. If you can't sell a gambling machine to a sailor anymore, what do? You make a game where you get to pretend to be a sailor. So Sega made Periscope. Periscope is an old-timey arcade cabinet from, I don't know, 1980 or something. I didn't fact-check anything in here. And I believe it's the first predecessor to the Virtual Boy. Again, mostly because you put your face in front of it and it looks uncomfortable, which are the two things the Virtual Boy does. There's nothing else about the console. So how Periscope worked, you'd look around and you'd sync boats. And it was pretty successful, but it was big and expensive to make, so Sega charged 25 cents to play it. I know what you're saying. 1980, 25 cents for a cabinet? That's what I think they would be. You're wrong. They used to be a nickel. Then Sega comes out with Periscope, and everyone's like, wait, people play a quarter to play Metal Slug? Okay. So this is the first instance of $70 AAA games. Thanks, Sega. And like any moderately successful video game developer in the 1980s, Sega decided they were going to commit to the bit, and with that, we got the first console, the SG-1000. Because for some reason, every video game developer in the early 80s decided it'd make more sense to make their own video game console than to develop games for other video game consoles. The 80s was a weird time. Nobody here has an Activision console. I wonder why. Some of you probably don't recognize the SG-1000. That's fine. There were a lot of other versions because Sega just OC do not steal themselves. So we have the Master System, the other Master System that I don't even know anymore. They even made a Sega Master System girl. And to be clear, this is real. I know I've been giving you a lot of wrong information. This is not wrong information. I think my favorite part about the Master System Girl is that it looks like it's a self-contained console, meaning as if you had the Girl, you couldn't play the Sega with other people because you had to hide your shame. I love it. Anyway, overall, Sega did all right. They were outsold by Nintendo 61 million to 22 million, which isn't bad. But the Master System had a much higher attachment rate than the NES. The attachment rate is how many games you would buy per console. So the NES averaged 8, the Master System averaged 21, because you needed 21 Master System games to get the same enjoyment you would get out of 8 NES games. So even though the console was outsold about 3-1, it more or less made up for that in game sales. And you can tell it did really well. It sold great in Western Europe, Western Japan, and Brazil. Brazil accounted for 8 million sales, and as recently as 2016, you could still buy a Sega Master System in Brazil. I don't know if you still can. I haven't found a news article citing anything more recent than 2016. If you find something that claims it that was published after 2016, they're all referencing the same 2016 article. I know I've spent hours on this. It's driving me insane. 150,000 Sega Master Systems sold in Brazil in 2016. Give them another century, they'll catch the NES. And you might be going, why did it sell so well in Brazil? And again, and I'm not kidding here, Sega had Tonka market it. And I am kidding here, what does Tonka and Brazil have in common? You're right, an immense hatred of the rainforest. For every Master System sold, we'll demolish another acre and replace it with cattle land. So, with the destruction of our environment in a moderately successful video game console, Sega decided, you know what, let's try it again. And in 1989, we got the Sega Genesis, and I mean, everybody, are you ready to see your favorite pack-in game for the Sega Genesis? Yeah. There we go! Andrew?
Yes, Max?
I'm confused.
Well, Sega wasn't confused. They knew their furry.
No, I think this doesn't look like a video game. This looks like the cover of an adult paranormal romance book.
Look, you gotta sell it to little Timmy's mother somehow.
I mean nothing ill to the furry community or horny moms when I say this, but I don't think the furry community and horny moms alone can sell a video game console. I think you need to branch out a bit more. So Sega did that after 2 years of going, wow, I don't know why anyone is buying our video game console with a ripped werewolf on it. They decided to hire this one guy named Tom Kalansky. And his whole thing was, guys, you need to lay off the werewolf. I've got a better idea. You have another anthropomorphic character. I think he's gonna do a much better job selling consoles. His name's Sonic. I know you know about him. It's the best-selling game you have. So we're gonna pack it into your console and drop the price by $50. And then,
Yeah, so now we should actually talk about Sonic. We're gonna talk about the conception of Sonic, something we promise you should never image search. Because
I dare you to do that.
it's a trap. Because Nintendo had a wonderful poster boy in Mario. Sorry, not that one. That one doesn't sound
gross.
right. Yeah, there we go.
No, bring up the first. I like the first one.
No.
Bring
was
back
okay.
the first one.
Yeah, Sega's poster boy at the time was Alex the Kid, and he just wasn't cutting it. Sega was kind of getting blown out of the water, because when you see like a poster boy for a console, like you like that character, you want to play that character, you have to buy that console for that character. And like, Mario was selling consoles, Alex the Kid was not.
Don't say that about my boy.
Has anyone here played an Alex the Kid game? I'm sorry.
No, that's just two people who are lying.
I believe one of them.
Actually, I believe everyone besides them in this room is lying. No one would, like, own up to playing Alex the Kid.
So Sega decided that they were going to take the opposite approach to make their new character to challenge Mario. So Mario's pretty slow, so our new character, he's got to be really, really fast. So Mario, you use 2 buttons in the controller, so Sonic's only going to use 1 button. Because we all know nobody ever uses more than 1 button. That's why the paint only rubs off the W key. Mario's red, so Sonic's going to be blue and have a crippling cookie addiction. Mario, very wholesome. So Sonic's gonna be edgy as shit. In Mario, you fight animals. So Sonic's gonna hurt them in a much more roundabout way. See, Mario had a terrible movie.
No, that movie,
Terrible movie.
That movie was great.
And Sonic was determined to outdo them before the end.
And they did it was much worse.
See, Mario's timeless, so Sonic's gonna have to be dated the moment he comes out. Honestly, I'm not sure if this was a great approach to making a character.
Did someone just say they loved that movie?
Me! That was pretty good!
How can you not love this
I'll
movie? It's
defend you.
incredible.
Yeah, you love it because it's trash, not
Yes.
fair.
No, I
You're
love it
getting
because it takes Shakespearean
It's beautiful.
dialogue, which was already made to be as low as common denominator as possible, and put it into something that belongs in a grindhouse cinema, and then paid everyone way too much money to make it.
I can't argue with you. I've seen The Room 12 times in theaters, so like, I'm with you, buddy.
So, but for the actual creation of Sonic, like their original concept design was they took Mickey Mouse and they put Felix the Cat's head on it. Like that's already not doing a whole lot. They're really
Wait, did
inventive
you
thing.
change images? I can't tell.
And then they had some other great ideas, like calling him Mr. Needle Mouse and giving him a human girlfriend. Something I'm very glad they didn't carry forward.
Well, he is carrying her forward, yeah.
But anyways, why did they pick a hedgehog for their flagship character? I guess they're kind of pointy, cool, cute, so that's fine. I'll let that one pass. But there are other characters, really. Fox, all right, everyone likes foxes. Until you hear them scream, it's the weirdest sound you'll ever hear in your life. And then an echidna? I didn't know an echidna was a real animal until I made this panel. It is a real animal.
Don't they have like really weird dicks or something?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, that is the one thing that everyone loves to talk about.
Yeah.
And then they
Or
decided to
4
raid the
heads
zoo.
or 10 pez.
They just decided to raid the zoo with all the other characters. Let's see. We got a bee, a crocodile, an armadillo, a bat, a rabbit, a hawk, and whatever the fuck
Wait.
Oh,
What-
and aliens.
What zoo do you go to get a guy in an armored suit?
I mean, nowadays, most of them. There's security guards everywhere.
That's true.
But now, we need to talk about the games themselves. Because I assume that the games are at least a decent reason why some of you are here. And that all started with classic Sonic. Back then, it was a platformer that was actually pretty unique. Because for the time, platformers were all about precision jumping and problem solving. Where Sonic, on the other hand, didn't go for that. They went for game design is fast equals good.
They're too busy reading this slide. So, real quick, the lore here. When I first made this panel, it was entirely framed around the Cold War. And I gave it at this con. And the reviews from the panel were, wow, that guy's really Republican. And I went, what the fuck? So now Andrew's here.
Yeah.
And this is one of like 3 things that remains from that structure. You'll know when you see the other ones.
Yep. So Sonic went for the platforming design of fast equals good, where as you go fast and you make jumps, you end up on the higher paths, which are typically easier and faster. Where if you mess up and you get on the low paths, they're longer, they're harder, you die more, so you have to reset and try to make those jumps. So after a while, you get, so it's skill through repetition, not necessarily like seeing what's ahead. Because usually if you're going fast, you're not going to have the time. So it was very unique for the time, like it was something they hadn't done before. And the side-scrolling actually gave a pretty good sense of speed, which like only racing games had really done at the time. So, I mean, the plot, not really that inventive. Like, it's the classic bad guy takes cute animals, shoves them into robots, and then we have magic stones to save the day. I mean, everyone does this plot. It's not new. They did it fine. And then Sonic 2 came out, and they just was more of the same. Added the second playable character in Tails, and added a spin dash so you could attack without stopping. Like, it was fine. It was outsold only by Sonic 1 in terms of the Sonic series. And I will make it clear. So they named him Tails for American audiences because his Japanese name of miles per hour was some reason offensive to us as like one of the only countries who used miles per hour.
Have you seen how we as a country have reacted to things lately?
Yeah. I don't understand why we're sensitive about that. Anyways, then we have Sonic 3. Which was designed as kind of one game that ended up coming out in multiple parts, and the soundtrack was going to be made with a certain famous musician. Just that famous musician turned it out to be a little problematic. So they were most of the way through development when all the allegations started to come out. So they removed all of his music from the game, by which they just removed his name from all of the music but kept all of the
Same
music.
thing.
OC do not steal, right? And Sonic 3's gameplay was where they kind of expanded on the formula a bit, like larger levels, more focus on story. The game started out in development as a 3D game, which they ran out of dev time and ended up cutting, which the second half went on to become Sonic 3D Blast, which was not a blast. But the 3D getting cut, they knew they needed to stick to what they knew, so they made another 2D side-scroller. And they ran out of time again and had to cut it in scope. First half became Sonic 3, second half became and Knuckles.
I was really hoping you'd pop off, man.
So they released it as a lock-on adapter because they felt Game Genie was getting too much of that market. But sometime during development, somebody had to ask, it's like, what happens if somebody puts a game like that's not Sonic in here? Because we're planning, like, if somebody puts Sonic 2 in here, it's going to replace Tails and Knuckles. It's going to be great. But what happens if someone puts, like, I don't know, Toe Jam and Earl in here? Well, we got to replace Toe Jam and Earl, so it's going to be Toe Jam and Knuckles. It's got to work. I mean, Earthworm Jim becomes Earthworm Knuckles. They made it work with every Genesis game, even VR chat. But, Max, if you have a wildly successful character in the 90s, and you need to milk him for as much money as possible, what are you doing with your character?
Serial endorsement.
I mean, yes, but they're also putting him in cartoon shows.
Cartoon shows.
So, the first one that came out was The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. And I'm pretty sure this was the result of the CIA experimenting with LSD, because they needed to turn down that dosage a lot. Because, man, whoever wrote this was on drugs. Like, nothing made sense in this show, wild and nonsensical backgrounds.
I think he just ate syrup really poorly.
I mean, like, let's go over some of these plots. Like, Sonic falls in love with a robot. Yes, that's a robot. Okay. We have Eggman becoming the Red Baron and joining the German Air Corps just in time for World War I. Or Sonic getting really into Yu-Gi-Oh! Come on, guys, what are you doing? And when they got someone to voice Sonic, they went out and were like, okay, we have this cool, fast character. Who are we going to have voice him? Yeah, let's check Jaleel White, Steve Urkel. I mean, it worked out in the end, but that was not where my brain was making an association. I will say, the nice part about the show was they ended every episode with a nice positive PSA reminding kids important life lessons. You know, like don't stick your face into a blender, or look at least one way when you're crossing the highway. Important lessons, you know. Then the drugs were out of their system, and we had another show come out called Sonic the Hedgehog. And this show decided to build on kind of where the games were weak, the plot.
Wait.
So,
Is it just me, or does the walrus look like a Five Nights at Freddy's character?
I mean, where do you think they got their inspiration from?
God, that's really sad.
Sonic inspires a lot of things. It's not just fan art. But anyways, so the show kind of built on the plot and made a reason why like Sonic and friends were fighting against Eggman. Because the plot was just, you know, Eggman's bad, Sonic's good, smash. But now it's like, oh, it's a future tech dystopia, like Eggman's kidnapped all their parents and turned them into robots and enslaved them, and now the kids are like trying to fight their way out. And it was honestly pretty good. I think it was ranked number 9 in all the Saturday morning cartoon shows for the era, so people liked it. And it was interesting enough where the comic books just kind of picked it up and ran with it. So Archie Comics, the redhead who can't figure out women, their comic company picked up Sonic license and made Sonic comics for over 290 issues. In fact, they had the world record for the longest franchise-based comic series. But then the license got pulled and handed over to a new company by Sega in the last couple of years because Archie had a bunch of legal trouble because one of their old artists who helped write a bunch of the storylines early on had left the company, and then he was just like, well, I kind of want to see if I can continue some of those plot lines that like got dropped. Because someone asked about it at a con, so he went back and checked, and they couldn't produce his original employment contract. So he had now had legal rights to all the things he did. So the entire legal department got fired, and they had to try to retcon the storyline like twice. It just got really messy, convoluted, so they just gave up. And then back to the cartoons.
And also, we gave this part of the panel in a room that the guy who drew that was in.
Yeah, it was a big con room. We're pretty sure he was within earshot for that segment.
It's like I can't get up and correct them.
And then we had Sonic Underground. They were back on the drugs because they doubled down because nothing made sense. It was basically kind of like a Star Wars ripoff, but instead of like twins separated at birth, it's triplets. And instead of the Force, it's the power of hard rock. Yeah, that was their great inventive design. It was not good. It's not worth your time. Don't watch it.
I mean, yeah, but you think the live-action Mario movie's bad, so it's probably a banger. Anyway, what did Sonic Mania sweeping the nation, much like COVID in 2020, do for Sega Genesis sales? And honestly, pretty good. The Genesis, as you can tell, the blue line, started kind of poorly. That's because it was a $200 console competing against the NES at $100. And it doesn't matter if Sega does what Nintendo don't. People don't want to spend an extra $100 on a console that doesn't have Mario on it. But once Super Nintendo came out, the Genesis dropped its price point by 50 bucks, packed in Sonic, bada bing, bada boom, even sales figures. Outside of Japan. Inside of Japan, no. It didn't even beat the TurboGrafx 16. Who here just played a TurboGrafx 16? You're lying.
Long's Adventure, baby.
Huh?
Long's Adventure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I've also played Bonk's Adventure on a TurboGrafx 16.
Good classic.
We have a problem. Or you have a lot of equity in old video game consoles. I did. I don't anymore. Now I can afford con tickets. So overall, the Genesis was like slightly outsold by Nintendo globally, but it didn't matter. Its games were still shit, so people had to buy a lot more of them. The attachment rate for the Super Nintendo was 8, the Sega Genesis was 16. So good game sales. Not only that, Sega decided that they could just milk their fans for even more. We got things like the 32X. And when you plug it into a Sega Genesis, it looks kind of like this. So the idea of the 32X was when Sega was developing the Saturn, they were also developing a 32-bit console. And when they were late in the process, they were like, well, we'll release the 32-bit console, and like a year or two later, the Saturn would come out. So releasing that console would just look really bad, and people wouldn't trust us or have faith in us as a company anymore. And we wouldn't want to do that to the Sega Saturn, because that's going to be a success, right? That's foreshadowing. So they did not go forward with the 32-bit console, but you know, hey, we could plug it into the Genesis and then it's better, so they released it. The thing is, by the time the 32X released in America, the Saturn was already out in Japan. Why get a 32X? The Saturn is going to come out in 1 year, 6 months. You'll find out. Next we have the Sega CD. When you attach it to a Sega Genesis, it looks like this. I'm going to drag the 32X. I think 32X was stupid. I do not feel the same about the CD. CD players were expensive back in the time, so if you wanted to listen to music on something that would bring you great shame, this is an option. B, for some reason, the fad of video games in the early 90s was filmed live-action cutscenes. Why? But you couldn't do that on a cartridge, you needed to do it on an optical disc. So this allowed you to play Night Trap, and I guess get a congressional hearing and make Joe Lieberman mad at you. Next we have the Sega VR. Yeah, in case you're wondering why I don't have a real image and just a mock-up, that's because the Sega VR never came out. Tom Clancy went to check out the Sega VR and went, this is terrible, and he threw it in the garbage. Do you know who was hanging out in the garbage that day? Gunpei Yokoi. Because he picked that up and went, I love this thing, and it became the Virtual Boy. And while the garbage part is not true, this is the actual predecessor to the Virtual Boy. How is Nintendo getting Sega's sloppy seconds? Where were we as a society? There was also a karaoke add-on. Japan only, so like there are 5 in existence. That's kind of cool. Wish I had one. There's also the Sega Tetra Drive. This is a fully functioning computer / Sega Genesis. It came out in 1991. Who would like to guess how much money it cost in 1991 dollars? Yes, what's your guess? 1,100. That's really good. So that's like $2,600 in today money. And I know what you're saying, that's disgusting. And to that I'd say, gaming computers were kind of expensive back then. I feel like this isn't the most egregious thing. Anyway, the Sega Genesis looked kind of like this when you plugged everything into it. You know what this, I feel like you all think that like this is a joke. No, this is just a Sega Genesis with all the bells and whistles. It reminds me of like a mail order Sears home. Like, don't worry, honey, next summer we'll bake the patio. Anyway, that worked out for Sears. So, or according to my notes, and while Russians were ordering Sega Genesis piecemeal from catalogs to construct at home, Americans were ordering homes. Both worked out just as well. The fun thing about the Genesis, though, was you could just kind of do whatever you wanted to it. Just don't turn it on, because it'll do this. You have to do 2 jokes. That's the rule. So now we're on to the Sega Saturn. I believe that is a fully functioning Sega Saturn in that image.
Yeah, we powered it on.
Yeah, we powered it on. It's perfect. So Sega has already kind of shot themselves in the foot going into the Sega Saturn with 32X, the CD, VR, the karaoke add-on. Everyone's kind of like, is Sega just trying to like take our money? I don't know if I trust this company. And we're going to go over some of the things that really reinforce the fact that people did not trust that Sega was just trying to take their money. Point 1, Sega was actually going to work with Project Reality to develop the Genesis. They made the N64. Pretty good at what they do, all things considered. The problem is because the Sega Genesis sold very poorly in Japan, Sega of Japan wanted to have a Japanese console manufacturer or developer. That way, it would be more Japanese and it would sell better in Japan. So they did that, which meant they did not work with Project Reality, even though Tom Clancy got like a whole contract written up. So he just gave the contract to Nintendo and went, here you guys go, which he did actually do. Next, Sega was going to work with PlayStation. Right after Nintendo left Sony at the altar, literally, Sony had a press conference when they're like, we're going to make a CD add-on for Nintendo. And Nintendo followed up that press conference in the same room with, we're working with Philips. So Sony's out for blood. They're petty bitches. So like, we'll work with Sega, and Sega's like, sounds great. And then they looked at the contract they wrote up and went, sounds terrible. Bye, Sony. And Sony's like, well, everyone's taught us how to make a video game console. Maybe we should enter the market out of spite. Which, you know, probably worked. You can still get one PlayStation. Next, the Sega Saturn had 2 discrete CPUs. I don't know a lot about computing, but I've heard that's a bad call. The reason it has 2, it initially had 1. They saw a tech demo of the PlayStation, went shit. They had a year, so they just taped a second one on, like, this is gonna be great. No one's gonna ask questions. I will ask, however, why they use quadrilaterals instead of triangles. It made it so nobody could develop multi-platform games. You would have to rebuild the game from scratch to work with the 2 CPUs and quadrilaterals. Kind of a nightmare. And you're saying, this sounds terrible. What could Sega do to make this release worse? And it's turned the E3 press conference about the Sega Saturn into a surprise launch party for the Sega Saturn. That's right, they just went, hey everybody, good news. You can buy a Sega Saturn right now, just not at KB Toys, because they didn't sell any to them, because they didn't make enough consoles to do a full national launch. KB Toys was really bitter about it. They decided to not carry Sega products going forward, a position that many other companies adopted just a few years later. Other problem with that, you have to tell your game publishers that you're going to release the console early. When the Sega Saturn came out, it had 6 launch titles. We had Clone Work Night, we had Daytona USA, we had I Can Read, Transit Dragoon, we had Pebble Beach Golf Course. Would you care to guess how many games came out in the last 6 months? Wait, sorry, there we go. None. Fuck that guy. Next, the Saturn controller looked like this.
Yeah, that's like a CD player, right? I put a CD in.
No, you put
the headphones in.
No, you put a CD in the Sega CD. The Saturn cannot play music. Don't fact check me on that. I didn't check.
At least the N64 controller made sense if you're.
No, it didn't. We can all agree the N64 controller is trash now, right? It's 2025. This is a safe space.
But this is somehow worse.
Yeah, it is. They also had Ice Cube sell it. I don't know. If you've seen his latest movie, this was probably a bad call. Overall, this led to the first instance of an unscheduled rapid disassembly of a video game console, but only in America. You see, Japan released it at a reasonable time, with a game window, and a Japanese console manufacturer, and a guy who would kick the shit out of you if you didn't buy one. And most pivotal, And I think that this is why the console was so successful in Japan. It didn't have a Sonic game.
I'd argue that is a reason why it died on arrival. But,
No, it was all the other bad calls. Not having a Sonic game saved it. Anyway, Sega went, this is bad, we should make another console, and they made the Dreamcast. Now, I agree. I think that, okay, so sure, the Dreamcast sold 10 million units and they discontinued it 2 years into its lifespan. But overall, I mean, it was the weakest console of its generation if you count it as the PS2 generation. It had an entry price point of $200 versus $300. The problem was, by the time this came out, nobody had faith in Sega anymore, and the PlayStation 2 was coming out in a year, and it could play DVDs. So why wouldn't you just wait for a PS2? Otherwise, good console. My only complaint, the fuck are the VMUs? I don't get them. I'm never gonna get them. I had a Dreamcast for like a decade. I never understood it. I sold it. I don't have to deal with it anymore. It's definitely not gonna haunt me the rest of my life.
all right,
Speaking of haunting me the rest of my life,
that brings us to modern Sonic. Now, it started with the Dreamcast era, and with the new game generation, they wanted to make everything new and fresh. And I quote, wanted to give characters new, edgy designs, and you can see that turned out great.
but that's my sleep paralysis.
Don't worry, he's only gonna eat your face. And they wanted
God,
to make
that's the
inventive
worst part
new
of the game.
gameplay experiences, like fishing. Yep, our game about Sonic going fast, we want
Wait.
slow-paced fishing. I heard.
Wait,
Yeah.
they had Sega Bass Pro Fishing.
Yes,
You could buy an actual fishing game.
they wanted to compete against
So,
themselves.
fun fact, Sega Bass Pro Fishing is why this is in Sonic Adventure.
Jesus
Because they
Christ.
released the peripheral for Sega Bass Pro Fishing. It was a fishing rod, and they wanted something else you could do with it. So the fishing mini in Sonic Adventure sucks because it's made to be used with that specific peripheral and nothing else.
Yeah, no, because also part of that's true, but part of it was that the developer had just gotten it working in engine. They're like, yeah, we'll keep it. Yeah, it seems great. Because some guy was just goofing off and they didn't want to fire him.
I'm just really upset that everyone applauded you. I like attention. Why are you getting attention? Would you like a rhythm?
And then they decided that, fishing, that wasn't going to do it for everyone. So they had to set something new, and that was a third-person shooter campaign.
We already had MAGWest Beacon teach us typing of the dead. Why did we need this?
But they decided that they knew what was best for Sonic fans, and they just kept making things.
As Sonic fans, do you appreciate that Team Sonic thinks that they know what you want?
Yes.
Yes, it's funny.
Yeah, they keep trying to do that because we got Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Now, wrong. I know it has a Metacritic score of 89. Let's be honest. What do you do when you play Sonic Adventure 2 Battle? You play City Escape, you kidnap animals, and you fight Chow. No one has willingly gone back to play Halloween Town with Knuckles.
Yeah, Pumpkin
That
Hill.
map's huh?
Pumpkin Hill.
Pumpkin Hill. No, who cares? No one has gone back to play the Spirit Halloween map in that game. It's terrible. Outside of a few Sonic and Shadowgate levels, it's really just, it doesn't matter. 89 is way too high. I think it's a 69 dice game.
All right, and then they followed up with Sonic Heroes. And this was one where they decided they had to put OCs, just all of their OCs into it.
Someone cheered for Sonic Heroes.
Look, we understand they have bad taste. That's why they're in a Sonic band.
Now, sorry, I'll let you finish your bit, and then I'll say my thing.
See, I heard a rumor that the fifth team was just going to be my dad and his two coworkers. Because at this point, it was more likely for a person to be in a Sonic game than not. And they didn't really expand on the formula. You want to run fast, you want Sonic. They're like, no, what if you were 3 characters at the same time and you had to go slow? It's like, they love it.
They know what I want. My hot take is, while Sonic Heroes was not well received at the time, if it came out anytime between 2007 and 2014, everyone would have loved it. Speaking of games that came out after Sonic Heroes that were even more disappointing, have you ever wondered what would happen if you gave a hedgehog a gun? Now, I don't know about you, I don't like games that go, well, you know what the real victory condition is? Neutral morality tree. That's what we want. just let the bad guys do whatever. I just want to, grill?
Alright, so the next Sonic game that came out was, of course, Sonic 06.
Wait, so I thought you said you weren't going to put this in.
Don't worry, Max, it'll be fine. Yeah. Because if you know anything about 06, it was really buggy. If we were rendered in 06, half of you would be clipping into the floor right now. If you could find the floor. So, yeah.
Even worse, they did have to bring back the idea of giving Sonic a human girlfriend. Even worse, if they waited 3 more years, Sonic would have at least been legal for it. Because at this point, the game franchise is only 15 years old. Yikes. Also, what's going on with Eggman? Every time I see that, it gets scarier.
Alright, and then next we had something come out that was better because the bar was that low.
I don't believe you're real people at this point.
I will have one complaint about this. Why do they call him a werehog? If you look at the word werewolf, wolf is the part that means wolf, not were. So werehog is a human turning into a hedgehog. There's no wolf in there anywhere. But, finally, the daytime levels, they heard what Sonic guys wanted. Fast, 3D branching paths, kind of a callback to the original games where they have some are fast, some are slower. It was great. And then the nighttime levels. They gave us a slow beat 'em up. It's over 50% of the game, and individual levels of the nighttime side can take over an hour to beat. It's why would you do this? And yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that.
Yeah, Andrew, just get good.
No.
I'd rather have
that
fun.
would mean I'd have to go back and play it more. I'm not willing to do that.
Yeah,
I'll
no.
play the daytime levels. I'm not playing
The alternative to getting good is just simply having fun and doing something else. Speaking of things that are fun that I'd rather do something else, this isn't one of those. I don't know why Sonic Team went, I really like Monty Python and the Holy Grail, let's make a game about it, but they did, and
Yeah.
that happened.
We don't have time to touch on all of the Sonic games because there were a lot of them. Some were honestly pretty good, some were not.
Hey, Secret Rings at least has shuffle built into it.
If I wanted to play Shovel, I just go pull out Mario Party. I'm not going to play it Sonic.
Yeah, but you don't have Sonic characters in Mario Party.
Just making standalone games. They're already making standalone racing games for Sonic.
I don't know, the fact that we're at the point where all engage in Secret Rings apologia is already a problem.
Yeah, but honestly, why are you putting Sonic in these racing games in a car? He's supposed to be faster than cars. Just put him on foot, he's gonna win. Also, the Olympics, that's not supposed to be a fair playing ground. Sonic's gonna smoke him in the 100-yard dash and die in the swimming competition.
I think it's an incredible situation where Sonic has to keep it competitive. He's gonna go for second. That's what you're shooting for, Sonic. Can you get second just like Dash did at the end of Incredibles 1? The only Incredibles movie. There is no Incredibles 2. Speaking of disappointments, at some point the Sonic franchise just kind of lost everybody, much like Sega did a decade ago. Fuck is he president again? Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway, so at this point, Sonic was like, "Well, we got to mix it up. I know. We're gonna pull the emergency lever. We are going to find a fan on the street and be like, hey, how do we fix the Sonic franchise?" And great news, they found the one good Sonic fan because Sonic Mania came out. Now, I have a friend. His name is Tyler. He is not here because he hates me. No, okay. He's alive. And Tyler loves Sonic games. He never grew out of it. I did after I got an N64 and went, wow, that was trash. And every time a Sonic game would come out, he'd be like, Max, the new Sonic game's gonna be great. And it'd come out and he wouldn't talk to me for 3 weeks and he would pretend the conversation never happened. And Sonic Mania came out. And he messaged me the next day and he's like, Max, it's good this time. And I'm like, I don't believe you. I have not played it. I'm not going to play it. I assume the critics are lying to me.
So Sonic Team was like, wow, that was so successful. Let's ask some other fans what they want. And the only message they got was furry generator. Don't get me wrong, furry generators are fine, but don't pay $60 for it. Just go to Newgrounds like everyone else. And then they have some more recent entries. Sonic Frontiers, because it took them 5 years to copy Breath of the Wild, where Genshin Impact did it in 3.
Okay, I genuinely think these people will applaud anything.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, playing through it, it feels like a cheap Breath of the Wild. Like, there's collectibles, puzzles spread out everywhere, a leveling system based on the collectibles for no goddamn reason. Why? And then the final boss fight was a quick time event with 3 button presses. Come on, guys, we've been over this. Sonic uses 1 button.
The final boss fight isn't a quick time event. That's only in the easier difficulty.
In the secret ending, it's now an asteroids event. It's like, I'm not sure that's better or worse.
Yeah, in terms of
Well,
total,
here's the thing. Of course we're going to play it on the easy difficulty. We want to get past the Sonic game as quickly as possible. You think I want to linger with this guy? He's going to feed me chili dogs.
And then, finally, they came out with Sonic Generations again. Only they just had to throw a Shadow skin on it, because they know people like Shadow a lot. Alright, but we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Modern Sonic and the movies. Because if you saw them, they weren't actually that bad. They were honestly kind of fun. Like, I know I'm not here for the Sonic part. Like, I was there for Jim Carrey being Eggman, and he was fantastic. I had such a good time.
Yeah.
But you remember seeing the original mock-ups? Like, I don't think Sega can make a Sonic movie that they can make an Eggman movie.
I agree with you in that they can't make a Sonic movie. The first Sonic movie, let's be honest, it's a road trip movie. They could have swapped Sonic out for Alex the Kid, and it would have been the same thing. Is Carrier's Robotnik fun? Yeah. Is he fun for the whole movie? God, no. They can't stop themselves from being like, let's just have Jim Carrey masturbate for 10 minutes now. Like, that's the next scene, and I don't need it, and I don't care, and I didn't like the movie, so I was really upset when Sonic 2 came out, and we got the voice for Knuckles the Echidna. Yeah! Why do they want me to fuck Knuckles the Echidna? I'm suffering from 3,000 years of longing right now. Fortunately, they did the exact opposite for Shadow. I mean, this guy's awful. I hate him. Yeah, no, he's awful and I hate him, that's the joke. The problem also with the Sonic 3rd movie is they didn't even include I Am All of Me. How do you do a Shadow movie and not play I Am All of Me? Like, what's wrong with the critics here? Have you not heard this song before? It's needed.
So Sonic's games might have more ups and downs than earthquakes, but one thing the Sonic games do right every time is the music. Because all the way back from Sonic CD, we put out that wild anime intro with our rockin' soundtrack, and Sonic Boom still runs on loop in my head. All the way to like Sonic Adventure 2 with Escape from the City. Like, that's 90% of the reason why. Like, the music has always been great. It's fantastic.
So, I want to establish at this point, Andrew was like, okay, I made a section on music. And I went, oh, I made a section on music too. Music has existed in the DNA for the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise ever since the beginning of the series with the hit Sega Pico game, Tails the Music Maker. Some of you may be going, Max, that's a shop. No, it's not. Sega made a game console for literal toddlers. This existed before the iPads. I mean, I'm not picking up real Beethoven vibes from Tails, but it's working. But when you think music with Sonic, you think Crush 40. The thing is, Crush 40 isn't actually like the musical inspiration of Sonic. If you look at like how they came up with the idea of Sonic, the conception, the thing you should never Google, the closest thing to a musical inspiration for Sonic is Bill Clinton.
Action true.
Yeah, they modeled him after Bill Clinton. So Sonic has canonically been to Epstein's Island. I'm very sorry to tell you that. Okay, so Jun Sano started at Sega in 1993 as the lead composer for Sonic 3 and Knuckles, or maybe just replaced the name of the previous lead composer. I'm not really sure. Redacted. So it's good to know, at least one of them is probably not problematic. We've gone through this. There are a lot of problematic characters in the Sonic franchise, including the Blue Blur himself. So in addition to Sonic games, he also made music for racing games because, look at that guitar. That man is not going to make music for Harvest Moon. He doesn't know what Harvest Moon is. After Sonic 3 and Knuckles, there was kind of a drought of Sonic games, and June was too hardcore to write music for the shitty new IPs that Sega was popping out, and not nearly hardcore enough for Echo the Dolphin. So he had to go to America and seek out the greatest vocalist of all time and prepare one of the most epic songs ever written. But first, why Crush 40? Like, the name of the band is very important, be it a childhood nickname based on a medical condition, your favorite plant, or a book you saw when you were coming up with the idea of the band name. Crush 40 used the AIMS screen name generator approach based on June's favorite soda, Crush, at Johnny Gilroy's age, about 40. Fucking revolutionary. The dynamic duo, June and Johnny, though, they weren't content with just dropping Open Your Heart and riding off in the sunset, which is fine, because I don't like Open Your Heart, actually. I know, heresy. So they did release a song for Sonic Adventure 2, and that is, of course, the greatest Sonic song ever written, Escape from the City.
So Max,
Yeah.
about that, it's not actually attributed to Crush 40. The vocals were done by Ted Poley.
So it's not canonically a Crush 40 song.
No,
What about Live and Learn?
that is not.
Okay, hell yeah. After that, they made music for Sonic Heroes. Was it good? Who knows? No one's played Sonic Heroes. After that, they made a song that really connects from the heart and brought out those big feelings we had as kids. I'm kidding. They made I Am All of Me, which we can all agree is the best pop punk emo song ever written. Get fucked, MCR. After that, they just kept making music for Sonic games and whatever the hell this was, all the way up to Sonic Generations. In 2012, they even released a live album for my birthday, which, like, thanks. But after Generations, they're like, hey Sega, what game are we making music for next? And Sega's like, not you, someone else. As Sonic Team switched to a Villain of the Week format for their featured bands. Leading up to Who Was Stank in Sonic Forces. And like, Sonic Forces is bad, but is it new metal bad? like there are only two fandoms I can think of that are worse than Sonic the Hedgehog. And those are new metal, the music of Angry White Boys, and the Republican Party, the politics of Angry White Boys. But it's okay, the fan community has somehow saved us, and they've written this epic opera as the soundtrack for the hit comic Tails Gets Trolled, which is unfortunately no longer on Spotify.
But of course, we have to talk about the Sonic fandom because Sonic kind of gets into everything. Like, you see him all over the place, people love him, but as much as we'd like to destroy Sonic and end it for once and for all, we can't, because the Sonic fandom is a fantastic quarantine zone. It keeps them all contained, keeps them focused.
Wait, sorry, lock the doors.
Because the last time the fandom got out, we saw what happened. We don't want that to happen again. Like, even Sega knows they want to kill him, but they can't commit to it. But don't you worry, Sonic's pumping out money for them. They're going to keep making Sonic till the end of time. We hope you had a good time coming to our panel. We enjoyed yelling at you for the last hour. Please follow us if you had fun. You can come see some of our other panels.
Okay, so next up we have InfoWarrior. That's at 5:45 in one of these two rooms. It is what if InfoWars was hosted by Wario. And as you can tell from this panel, which is not supposed to be political, that's going to fall apart real fucking quick. And then we have the Pokemon Film Review Hour Sunday at 11:30 a.m. because we watched all the Pokemon movies, and now you have to suffer. That's how the rules are written. Anyway, again, feel free to scan that QR code to join our various socials. We also have business cards. If you want a business card to feel cool and give to someone and confuse the shit out of them like I did to the guy at the Dutch Bros last night. Or a badge ribbon, if you would like a badge ribbon. It says Gen 5 isn't Pokemon. Or if you want to ask questions, because we have 5 minutes. You can do that.
Thanks for
But you
coming.
have to go up to the microphone and shame yourself.
It's a Sonic fandom. They're
He's
good at
staff, so we have to be nice to him. That's the problem.
That hasn't stopped before.
Yeah, we'll be many times.
You've never stopped me. As staff of several cons, I don't respect myself. So I
This
won't
is something
respect
I've been wondering since the start of this panel.
you. Okay.
For the snail amphetamines picture, was that intentionally a joke about the movie Turbo, or was that an accident?
That had nothing to do with Turbo. That was because we had Mario as a snail. But I appreciate that. We could put Turbo in there. We could let him write our jokes, please.
No.
Yeah, no. Mr. Kidnap.
So how did Todd
In your best Idris-Elba voice, please.
So how did Todd Clancy wind up moonlighting for Sega?
He was their CEO for Sega of America. So he had some like decision capacity, but Sega of Japan was still like in charge of everything, so he had to answer to them.
So he was writing novels and also working
Tom Clancy, Rainbow
Yeah,
Spark.
sorry, different guy.
Yeah.
Tom Clancy?
Kalansky.
Tom Clancy.
Yeah, before he worked for Sega, he worked for, I believe it was Mattel.
Yep.
Whoever has Barbies.
Yeah.
He's the one who sold Barbies.
He also sold Hot Wheels.
Hell yeah, that's my
He was
man.
kind of well known for making those Hot Wheels.
He's basically every toy that you've heard of from the 80s and 90s is his fault.
And Transformers, I think that was also.
Yeah, it's 80s and 90s, that's his fault.
Yeah.
Okay. You can grab a thing if you would like, if not, you don't have to. Did you have
Yeah,
a question?
I guess shout out to Pumpkin Hill. Like,
Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Pick a better stage. Go to the
No,
back.
why do you like Pumpkin Hill? Give me an actual reason.
Music.
Okay, get out of the lines. You don't deserve the line anymore. He's wrong. Yes.
So, since you played Sonic Frontiers on easy mode, I must ask, what's your favorite Titan theme?
I don't actually like most of the Titan things, but I really like the I think it was the secret boss like ending music.
Okay, fair enough.
When you're playing Asteroids.
So the music when it's over.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I actually have several songs from.
I'm surprised you survived the panel. I thought we sent you into the field.
Do you know of any person, aside from myself, that actually likes the Sonic Boom video games and TV series?
No, because I don't believe you're real.
No. I know some people like the Sonic Boom video games because they can make speedrunning so easy because you just pause when you're in the air and it resets your jumps. So you just jump over everything.
I'm
It's
actually
so
playing one of
broken.
them, and I'm actually going through it and enjoying it.
No, you're not.
I really am.
You're not.
Yeah, I've heard good things about the
Grab a
I
thing.
just have not watched it myself.
Yes, Shadow. With like the Tommy Wiseau pants.
David.
Why did you gloss over Ken Penders' era of Archie Sonic?
Well, because
We did not have time to
yeah,
talk
there's
about
not enough time. Look, I've read all 290 of those issues at least twice.
I'm so sorry.
No, I liked it. I grew up as a kid. I loved it. Yes, it had some problems. It was hard to keep track of things, but there's really good stuff in there. But yeah, Ken Penders. And I was like, no, this is mine now. And
If you want to
then,
meet him, he's normally at Fan Expo SF.
I don't want to.
yeah,
Oh.
I got a shirt signed by him. It was great. It's in a bookshelf.
Hello.
What operating system did that weird Sega Genesis computer monstrosity run? Like, when you boot it up, what do you see exactly?
80s OS. There wasn't the
You
standard.
see
back
your
then.
entire life flash before your eyes. So I think Windows ME. Yes.
Yes, Tom.
So I'm offended.
Yeah, I believe.
I'm offended that Sonic only uses one button, and you know what else only uses one button? A gun.
I thought you were gonna say a
No, that
cyber
is true. You gotta cock it first.
Safety's free.
Oh yeah, see?
That's not a real button. if you just ignore it, leave it off.
Shadow's guns don't have safeties. I see that.
Well, his guns also don't have bullets. Hello, Mr. Mario.
Hello.
My brother.
Pulled up the Sonic panel.
I don't know. Anyway, when you got to the music part and you guys started with Sonic Boom, it made me curious. What about the Sega Genesis Sonic era music? Any tracks stand out to you guys in there?
Oh gosh. I don't have.
Whichever ones Michael Jackson doesn't have anything to do with.
I don't know. I listen to a lot of like Chemical Plant's always a fantastic one, but like Sonic Boom was just like well known. That's why we went for that one.
Sure.
And it has a nice graphic associated with it. Makes it easy.
I mean, the perpetual answer to every question is it's a 45. It's technically a 45-minute panel. We cannot talk about a lot of things.
Yes, there's a lot of Sonic. If you didn't know.
Yes.
Welcome back.
I don't think they've asked a question yet.
Which Sonic character is Billy Hatcher?
Okay, alpha rat.
Sits on eggs. I don't know. Big the cat.
See, the problem here, I'm gonna say vanilla.
Don't you dare say the other half of that joke.
Just walking around.
Because vanilla can sit on an egg. She's the size of an adult human. You're welcome. I don't think he's ever gonna let me put that in here.
No, I won't.
No. Do you two want to do a Sonic panel without him, where we just rate how hot all the Sonic characters are? Okay.
Sign me up.
Let's do it.
I will not be in the same room as that.
Anyway, if we have the next panelist, they can come in or something. I don't know what's next. Thank you all for coming. If you're still here, if you haven't grabbed a business card or a badge ribbon, feel free to. If you have and don't want one, that's fine too. Thank you all. We'll see you again.